The workplace can sometimes feel like a battlefield. This course, Becoming a Jedi at Work, will help you develop the skills to become a modern-day Jedi. Calm, focus, presence, and empathy. And these skills will help you have better interactions with your colleagues and clients. Hi, my name is Pandit Dasa, and I lived as a monk for 15 years in New York City. Now you're probably wondering why in the world I became a monk. Because that was the number one question I was always asked. And now I'm not a monk anymore. So people want to know why I'm not a monk. I'll share a little bit of my journey with you, and then we'll get into the details of the course. My parents migrated from India to the US in 1980. They came over with little to no money. So one of the first things they did was they set up a small shop on the boardwalk of Venice Beach, California. For those of you who don't know where Venice Beach is, please Google it. It's a very fascinating and interesting place, especially a very interesting place for an immigrant kid to grow up. My parents were working 7 days a week, at least 12 hours a day. They had nothing. Within a matter of 8 years, they were able to establish a multi-million-dollar jewelry business in Los Angeles. So life was great for some time. We began living the American dream much faster than we expected to, actually. Then in the late 1980s, my parents' jewelry factory actually caught on fire. It burnt down. We ended up losing everything, and actually we went bankrupt. It was a difficult time for us. At that time, my dad, trying to figure out what to do next, decided to explore new business opportunities in post-communist Bulgaria. So we packed up our bags, left LA behind for good, and went from living in a 6-bedroom, 5-bathroom house on the hills of Los Angeles to a 1-bedroom apartment in Bulgaria. Quite a change. Bulgaria at that time, no one spoke English. The country had just come out of communism about a year ago. It was a very difficult time for me and for my family. Socially, emotionally, financially, we had gone through a major upheaval. And this was the first time in my life that I turned inwards, trying to figure out what I want to do next. And this is when I started to practice mindfulness to some degree. We spent 2 years in Bulgaria and moved back to the US, this time to the East Coast, where my parents set up a small retail operation in New York City. I helped them with that a little bit. And in the meantime, I met some monks in New York. And they said, why don't you take some time out for yourself? You've had a rough about 5 years. Take some time and figure out what you want to do. Go to a monastery in India. So I took them up on their offer. I said, why not? How many times in my life am I going to have a chance to do this? In 1999, I fly off to Mumbai, India, move into a monastery where there's 40 monks living there. No one has their own bedroom. No one has their own bed. Everyone sleeps in common spaces on a thin straw mat. And there were no guest accommodations, so I stayed with them in these common spaces. We're waking up at 4 in the morning. Meditation was happening from 5 o'clock for a couple of hours. And the rest of the day was spent serving one another and serving the community. So it really was a life of simplicity, humility, and service. This is exactly what I needed to reset my mind. Spent 6 months there, moved back to the US, and moved into a monastery with those monks in New York City. Thought I'd spend another 6 months there. Ended up spending a total of 15 years of my life living as a monk in New York. 11 years ago, I left the monastic life, and since then, I've been speaking in organizations globally on these topics of how to have better work-life balance, how to develop a healthy and positive workplace culture, and how can leaders become more mindful. So that's my story. Now, why a Jedi? Let's analyze what a Jedi actually is. I'm assuming most of you are familiar to some degree or another with the Star Wars franchise, and I'm assuming you've watched at least one Star Wars movie in your life. I've watched a whole bunch of them. A Jedi is one who's able to remain calm, cool, composed, focused, and present during battle. And I mentioned earlier how the workplace can sometimes be like a battlefield. So a Jedi can remain calm and present, not let the emotion of anger carry them away. In the workplace, sometimes we can have conflict with our colleagues. We're working with people who think differently than us, who work differently than us. So there's ample opportunity in the workplace for conflict. We have so many back-to-back meetings. We have so many tasks that we just never seem to be able to complete. And so during these moments, it's so important that we are able to manage our emotions and our mind and continue to be productive in the workplace. And that is why I'm calling this course, How to Become a Jedi in the Workplace. So this course consists of 8 modules. At the beginning of each module, I'm going to have a short 5 to 10 minute introductory video that you can watch summarizing the course content. Then there'll be a slide deck that you're welcome to look at with a summary of the content, and there's a detailed PDF file as well that you can study. And within each module, within the PDF, I've included 1 or 2 short fun videos, each of about 1 to 2 minutes, that will further elaborate on the point being made in that module. So make sure you don't skip those over and make sure to watch those as well. And at the end of each module, there are going to be reflection questions and exercises. And I highly encourage you to look at these questions, think about them deeply, and write down the answers. Please don't rush through them. You're not racing with anyone else. Your goal is to dive deep into each lesson, meditate on it, write down your answers, and then move to the next course. I want to thank you very much for taking this course. I want to wish you all the best, and may the Force be with you. Thank you.